We're having an earthquake. Oh God.
January 1st, 2024, a reported magnitude 7.6 earthquake struck on the peninsula of Noto in Japan. As we look on this map provided by the United States Geological Service, we can see the epicenter, and we can also see the distance the shaking would have been felt. Using the scale of the map provided, we can see where an average of 150 kilometers of longitudinal or vertical distance and approximately 250 kilometers of horizontal distance or latitudinal distance would have been the total area of strong to very strong shaking. When we look into this area mentioned in reference to Jamaica, what it is that we're saying is that if a magnitude 7 plus earthquake is to happen on Jamaica mainland, the entirety or almost the entirety of Jamaica will experience strong to very strong shaking. Jamaica is no stranger to strong earthquakes. In our recorded history, the Port Royal 1692 earthquake is recorded as an earthquake that had a magnitude of 7 plus, an intensity of 10 according to the University of the West Indies Earthquake Unit. It is said that throughout Jamaica, gaps were opened miles in length and often 20 feet wide and hundreds of yards deep. There was also a case where water, tidal waves to be exact, swept over the harbor and went miles inland. Now, it is important to understand that this case in our history is pretty much what it is that we can see actually took place at the Noto Peninsula 2024 January 1st earthquake. It is said that at least 200 buildings would have been damaged in the Wahima area of Japan, according to the Weather Channel. As per the Business Insider, fire sparked by the earthquake burnt the 200 plus buildings in Wahima. A tsunami with waves up to 4 feet high swept in Suzu. Thousands were without electricity and had to move to higher ground. The ground, in parts hardest hit, uplifted up to 13 feet. Roads cracked. Shifting this back into the context of Jamaica, the most populous towns and cities of Jamaica are located near the coastline, examples of which include Montego Bay, Spanish Town, Portmore, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Now, in the Kingston, St. Andrew area, to be specific, we see where we are trying to do a lot of urban renewal around the waterfront. And it is important to note that similar to the waterfront, we also have a peninsula that basically have our Norman Manley International Airport. I wanted to put all that would have been described as outcomes of the Noto Peninsula earthquake and shift that to Jamaica. 13 feet, up to 13 feet uplift of land within the Kingston Harbor region, where we have our major economic zones located. A tsunami sweeping in to the inland area. Many of the houses that are of the lower economic regions of the Kingston region there being engulfed in fire, and or because of them not being up to international standard specific to our current building code that has been updated, we would now realize that these buildings crumble. Concrete buildings, wooden buildings crumble and harm the inhabitants. I talk about thousands of people. Picture that. All right, so now let me just shift things back again now into the similarities further between Japan and Jamaica from a physical geography and even from a geology point of view. Japan is a country of many islands. As a country, it is bounded by or intersected by four major tectonic plates, namely the Pacific Plate, North American Plate, Philippine Plate, and the Eurasian Plate. It is Japan's geographic proximity to these plates that give rise to its frequency and intensity of tectonic events or earthquakes. Jamaica as a country is also an island. Similar to Japan, Jamaica's geographic location sandwiches it or places it within tectonic boundaries, specifically the boundary of the Caribbean plate to the North American plate, as well as the Gonave microplate in respect to its location to both the Caribbean plate as well as the North American plate. Now, with the intention of not to go too deep in technicalities, Jamaica's tectonics is somewhat different than Japan's. The dominant fault lines that go through Jamaica are predominantly strike slip, or they move past each other, they rub along each other. The plates that will go through Japan, we may see subduction or plates going underneath each other. There is also zones where there is strike slip, and there are also pulling apart zones or zones where the plates separate from each other. So, in explaining this, Japan's greater diversity in terms of Earth movement give a greater sense of insight into why Japan has a higher rate of frequency and intensity generally in the context of its earthquakes in relation to Jamaica. Having said that, Jamaica does still have the capacity to experience a magnitude 7 plus earthquake. The fault line, Plantain Gan Enriquila fault line, is the fault line that connects or runs through Hispaniola or Dominica, Haiti, and extends into Jamaica. This is the same fault line that has caused magnitude 7 plus since 2010 in Haiti. This more than likely is also the fault line that would have triggered the Port Royal 1692 earthquake in Jamaica. So in that context, there is potential just through this earthquake zone or fault zone for a 7 plus earthquake to occur. But yes, in relation to Japan, the frequency or the chance of it actually occurring is less. With it being over 300 years since Jamaica has experienced a 7 plus earthquake, you can say that Jamaica is long overdue. So on this basis, the question is this: can Jamaica withstand a 7 plus earthquake? And the way how I want you now to have this question be viewed is in the context of infrastructure, search and rescue, medical systems and capacity, security, to name a few. The Jamaican Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, has expressed confidence in Jamaica's fiscal capacity to respond and provide buffers in the event of a strong earthquake. Similarly, the Masters Association of Jamaica have expressed confidence in the current building code in its context of protecting Jamaica in the event of a strong earthquake. The Ministry of Health has also come out publicly to express confidence in its adequate capacity to respond in the event of a strong earthquake. It can generally be interpreted that the personnel I've mentioned are confident in Jamaica's capacity to respond to a strong earthquake. Now, let's be fair. Within our lifetime, our grandparents and great grandparents' lifetime, if I want to put it as far as that, they have not experienced a magnitude 7 plus earthquake on mainland Jamaica. So, we cannot say that we have the experience in having to recover from such a natural occurrence slash disaster. But if we are going to look into what are the cases that are before us, we need to really look deeply into what can be the actual reality for us here in Jamaica. The Afghanistan 2023 earthquake, a magnitude 7 plus, has left thousands of people either having to try to rebuild or having lost life, being injured, to name the few. Similarly, the Turkey 2023 earthquake has also impacted the lives of thousands, tens of thousands of people, resulted in millions in damages, to name a few. And if we're going to now look into the current, or rather the most recent, Noto earthquake in Japan, it is also expressed that thousands of lives would have been impacted, even though death toll is in the mere hundreds. Still is a case where, economically speaking, that section of Japan has been impacted to the point where they are now, or they would have been, pushing out a relief fund. So when we're going to look at it within that context, thousands of people can more than likely be impacted in the event of a 7 plus earthquake. Can even be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Highways, communities can be cut off as a result of a land slippage. Jamaica, in comparison to Japan, may not necessarily have the most advanced state, or being its most advanced state in the context of search and rescue, where airborne rescue, as an example, would be able to supplement in the event that land rescue is impacted or impeded, as an example. So, with this being the case, what it is that you should be able to take away is that in the event of a 7 plus earthquake, the likelihood is that thousands of Jamaicans on mainland Jamaica will be impacted one way or another. A 7 plus earthquake, if it even strikes within the eastern portion of Jamaica, will more than likely result in strong shaking to as far as potentially the western end of Jamaica, the entirety of Jamaica. So, more emphasis on amidst that, and taking everything that has been shared within this episode of Let's Discuss podcast, and answer for yourself. Do you think Jamaica can withstand a 7 plus earthquake.